how could I do that? Do.
Download Telegram. I can make it work.
Yeah, grab Telegram. That's easy.
Telegram Messenger?
Mm, yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Just like
it's
on.
that. It's just an app, and there she is. Uh, with her new style. Look at you all covered up, and you got glasses on.
I've worn this outfit on Cozy
Mm,
before, like this exact
I never
outfit.
seen it.
Uh,
Let me see. Okay, tell her. Do do do. He's still in. Um, yeah, you. No, you look different. You look. Nerd is not the word. Maybe it is the word. You look. You going for the nerdy look?
oh,
No, you're
this
not
is this
going for the
is
nerdy gamer look.
no, this is my like minimal makeup, uh, most feminist Jewish look. I think.
Yeah, actually, real.
Yeah, this is my natural
Nailing it.
form. This
Nailing
is what
it.
I'm hiding behind all of that makeup.
This thing.
Okay.
All right. Off to a smooth start here. Very good. Top quality. Um, in time in chat as asking, is this a question directed at Lav? How do I stop being horny? Bruh.
Uh,
Thoughts, Lav? What's the answer to that?
well, I'd like to. Why would you like to stop being horny? Is it like running your life? Like, do you not want to have premarital sex? Like, why is it that you
Maybe
want
it
to stop
is.
being horny?
Maybe it's running his life. What if it is?
Then maybe you should go to a doctor to see if there are things that you can do. I know that things like Zoloft
The
help
horny
with
doctor?
stuff like that. No, not the horny doctor, just like a general practitioner. They can prescribe you things that would make your latency period longer so that you're
Going
not always
so he should go
on.
on medication.
If it becomes that much of a problem that you need to, you know, if it's ruining your life, I mean, there are other things you could do like meditation or having like not masturbating, have like a no fap month. I'm not sure if that would help you be more or less horny, to be honest, though.
Well, let's get past that. That was a good answer. Good answer. Did that help in time? Let us know if that helped. Yeah, see a doctor. Maybe meditate and stop masturbating. Actually, like, I don't know. Maybe those are good ideas. Just try to relax. Just chill out.
Breathe. Use that frustration to exercise, lift
Yeah,
weights,
get a
do
woman and
charity. No, don't have
uh,
sex. I'm
yeah, get a
anti-sex now.
get a girlfriend and learn how to hate women, and then just stop being horny.
True. You'll stop
You're
being horny if you
anti-sex now? Is
realize
that
how
real?
bad Mormons suck.
Let's
No,
get
that's
that out
not
of the
real.
way. I feel like there's gonna be.
Okay,
Let's get that out
I'm
of the way.
on
Let's
now.
let's do the sex thing, and then maybe we'll have that done right up front. So you're anti-sex
No, I'm
now.
pro-sex.
Oh,
No, I'm completely pro-sex. I think that sex is a beautiful thing where you share your body with another person, and it can be very cathartic, very healing. It's a natural human process. As long as you're not
okay.
hurting yourself and you're doing it with someone that cares about you and respects you.
All right. Well, I didn't really. I thought you were saying you were actually anti-sex now. I know because you made a
No,
bunch of big. You made a. It seemed like you might have been going through a transition phase, or like
I'm
a
trans.
metamorphosis. Into the cocoon, into the chrysalis, and you've emerged as a new butterfly. So what's new?
Yeah.
What's new? Because everybody here, I will just assume, and if not, then you're just out of the loop and it's your fault. But everybody knows about the arc and some history. They know you as a character. Maybe they saw you the first time you were here, and there's been some big changes. So, I checked with you before we came live, and you said that you're willing to talk about anything. I'm not going to try to press you anywhere awkward, but do you have any? Can I just like let you go? Do you have anything you can tell us? Give us an update. What's going on with Lav? Where are you at now?
Uh, yeah, I guess I'm in a pretty similar place. But a lot healthier. Um, I I think obviously I had like a bit of a mental breakdown. Listen, it's really hard to be in this space. People are very cutthroat. I consider myself very emotional, pretty feminine, and it's a hard place to be. People are doing blood sports all the fucking time. So yeah, it's
True.
a hard place for to be if you're me. Um, and yeah, I think I cracked under the pressure a little bit. I think I was going through. I've said this publicly. I was withdrawing. I was tapering off of a pretty high dosage of Klonopin for the past year. All prescribed. I wasn't like abusing it or anything, but I was definitely it definitely wasn't doing great things to me, and it's ultimately why I tried to get off of it. But a lot of that whole thing happened while I was like in my 2 week withdrawal, which is a pretty gnarly time to be interacting with people in general, let alone having it like publicly streamed.
Mm.
Um, Not that that's an excuse for like some of my behavior, but just a more of a explanation. And yeah, other than that, I think I'm more lucid than I've been on stream. I think I'm more calm, less reactive. I don't know if I've ever been extremely reactive on Cozy though. I was mostly reactive on Steven's streams. That was the nature of the
But
beast. I don't know.
so
I'm pretty similar.
you're still the same Lav, just not on Klonopin and not under so much stress because of all the
Yeah,
things that were happening. For those
I've
of
learned
us who
some
don't
lessons.
know, yeah, tell us about the lessons and also tell us about Klonopin. What is that? What does it do to you? What's it for?
So I was prescribed Klonopin. I have a like dysautonomia, which is often people with celiac or autoimmune diseases like I do often have dysautonomia, which is like a really poor regulation of like your nervous system. Um, and I was having a lot of trouble with my heart rate. I could get my heart rate up to like 170 just by like anxiety, and I was like extremely anxious constantly. So I'd have like panic attacks in which like I would have to go to the hospital, like the emergency room, because I thought I was dying. And
Mm.
I did that. I did that 6 times in 1 month. And they were like, "Okay, dude." They're like, "Okay, bitch, we got to put you on something." This was like over a year ago. So then I was put on Klonopin, and it really really helped. It saved my life in a lot of ways, I think. But then I used it, I think, for you're only supposed to use Klonopin for 2 weeks, and after that long term use, you're like a long term user, and that has a lot of side effects.
Mm.
But it was helping me for so long, and I couldn't be on any other like anxiety medication because of my heart condition. Um, so I was just on it for too long. But basically, it's a benzodiazepine, and it basically is like a sedative. It works by attaching to the GABA receptors in your brain, makes you more calm, more level, but then it also can make you more emotional. I mean, Jordan Peterson was on Klonopin, and it made
Yeah.
him, more emotional and more reactive and more depressed. I think it took all of my mental health issues and kind of exacerbated them a little bit when I wasn't on the Klonopin. So I don't know. I'm glad that I'm off of it, but I was never on like a crazy high dose. I was never like taking it to like conk out. I was just sort of like using it as a crutch for a while. So
So it mellows you out and just calms you down, makes you chill. It's a literal chill pill. You were
yeah,
on chill pills.
yeah,
All
it
right.
shuts off your anxiety, makes you feel good.
S-
It's like the equivalent of having like a little alcohol buzz.
And so yeah, Jordan Peterson got on them's, but that took him down a dark road. You didn't go as far down the Klonopin rabbit hole as JBP.
No, yeah, no, not quite as far. I think if I wouldn't have checked it though when I did, I could have potentially. Dude, those things are fucking addictive because they're so. It's like I remember taking it for the first time and being like, "This is the thing I've been searching for like my whole life," which is
Really?
scary. Yeah, that's like a really scary thought to have about like a substance that you're putting into your body that you don't make naturally. So
Hmm. So you just felt the way you always wanted to feel, sort of like that.
yeah, I think I have the typical Jewish neuroses that I'm like kind of constantly anxious. So it felt like for the first time my brain was kind of quiet, and I got really like addicted to that feeling.
Um, you were gonna, boy, before I asked about the Klonopin, there's something else. You were gonna say that. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just ask it this way. Looking back on, just to again, we're gonna Philip DeFranco it, jump right into it. With the way things, you said you had sort of like a breakdown. Are you referring to? I read the night that it came out. I read what you had written. You had like written a
Ugh.
not a manifesto, but you gave a big
I
old
was
recap. You gave us a recap. You gave us a
First of all,
summary of events.
that was at my peak withdrawal symptoms. So I wrote that, not that I'm excusing any of it, but I wrote that while I was shaking in bed, nauseous, like withdrawing off of Klonopin.
Wow,
Um, so
gnarly.
I mean, I meant everything that was in it. I meant everything that was in it, but it was a little more dramatic than I would have written now, I think. Um, but yeah, I went through a very strange situation on Steven's streams, um,
Yeah.
in which I felt like I was being used for content and for ultimately like sexual favors, and then I was being kind of bolstered because of that, uh, which was strange. It was strange that I had this personal relationship with Steven and then also he was like using me for content and like didn't care about me. Not that I think listen, I don't think that's the worst thing, right? Like when I say that he was abusive, I don't think that he's like the worst person who exists. I actually think he's a pretty good guy, but I think that he has some pretty maladaptive behavior that leads to some pretty serious interpersonal problems or disturbances.
Yeah.
And I think that I got caught in the middle of that,
Yeah. So
which sucked.
yeah, that was a. I mean, I don't know how much I want to say about it. It's not really much of my business. We've done plenty of talking about it.
You got me
So
in trouble.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Was it really me? I like that thing got you in trouble. How much was that? Because I don't really know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't actually. I mean, I think about it now and I felt really angry when I figured out that you had told Ethan Ralph or whoever the fuck
Hmm.
about it. Because Steven had acted like it was like some big thing that I had said, like some horrible thing I
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
said. Um, which I think it was extremely tame. I simply like told you. Then people were like, "Well, how could you trust him?" And I was like, "He's not really giving me a reason not to." And I don't think that this information is like so classified that I like can't tell people about it. But yeah, it got me into a bit of trouble. Maybe I shouldn't have been telling people about personal sexual instances, but I also thought it was funny. Um, so I
Well,
shared that.
thank you. Okay. Well, we agree on that. And in the way that you told me, I didn't receive it in a feeling that, I guess in my defense, but I'm not really trying to defend, just to explain. It didn't seem like you were telling me a top secret, and I didn't know, but I didn't really have explicit permission to share, but I did ask. But then when you didn't reply in just like a couple hours, I just went and hit shared anyway,
Yeah.
which was a pretty hurried, but it was just like it was relevant to what was going on, and it was too damn funny. That was the thing. It was just really funny. And
I also
and
it's really I don't know why I think this is like a power play thing. And maybe this is maybe it's because I feel so embarrassed for having a relationship with him because it is sort of embarrassing.
yeah.
That I really felt the need to distinguish like I didn't do anything to him. Which
Mm,
is sort of hurtful, I guess. Like I can understand how he would be hurt by that. But I think
yeah.
it's important when people are like messaging me like you sucked off Steven or you let the gnome fuck you. I'm like, actually, no, I didn't. I sort of just was like, I let him eat my pussy and then I left. Which
Well, all
is
right. We
funny.
don't. I
Which is
asked for.
funny.
I brought this. I brought the subject up, but we can just leave the details in the tweets that Ralph made. I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
funny though. It is funny. It's a funny thing because especially for us because we like to laugh at simps, all right, and we laugh at guys who are female fixated and they're just sex crazed and they're looking for their next sexual adventure or sexual experience. Because while it's essentially sort of natural, meaning like it's kind of, it's a carnal, it's just like animalistic or instinctual to just desire that type of stuff. It's also a psychological thing where there's guys that are seeking to validate themselves through sexual conquest, or with men, it's sort of a power thing, just to be able to gain access to a thing that a woman meters out based on her
Yeah.
appraisal of a man. And so being able to get it from a woman who will allow him to have it it's a notch on the belt. It's a feather in the cap. It's a sexual conquest that.
Totally, and I didn't want to let him have that on me, even
Yeah,
though I gave it
yeah,
to him. But still, it was
yeah,
like I still felt like I should have. I don't know. It still felt like it made a difference to me to not be like another girl that like fuck Steven to get a fucking platform. Like that felt really shitty to me.
yeah.
But
And it's
so be
also
it.
for us, it's a hilarious own because it's kind of he got a little bit cucked out of something he was trying to get, because he was clearly trying to get the whole thing, because every guy's always trying to get the whole thing.
Sure.
And if he got the proverbial taste, but not the whole thing. But and so
Oh,
as
jeez.
much as yeah, so but as much as it's funny, and it's nice to get a funny laugh at his expense, in a friendly way, but
No.
it's. Yeah, yeah, it is, because he's been a real son of a bitch to us more than once, and it's nice to see it come back around. Like, okay, now we got one on you. Like, oh, you're embarrassed, lol. And because he's been very, grimy and slimy in his ways, he's been, we tolerate each other. There's been a certain level of amicability from our side to his and
That you
his side to
guys
ours,
were
between him and Nick,
feuding.
me
I
and
did.
Destiny, or just us.
Because he said, yeah, he was like, he got mad. He was like, why did you tell this person who like hates me? I was like, how the fuck was I supposed to know you guys hated each other? I didn't know that you had beef with literally every single person online. Sorry.
Me personally or him? What do you mean?
Yeah, he said, no, yeah, well, no, him. I didn't know that he had
Yeah,
beef with
yeah, him.
everyone.
I don't have a personal beef with him. I mean, last time we talked, it was all good. His last message, he called me matey in the last message, which is kind of like weird. But he kind of burned the bridge. I guess actually the last time we spoke was after the Max deplatforming thing, which all got pinned on me because of a comment I made on a stream. I'll say it that way. Whether or not it was my fault, I don't know, but I was sort of like scapegoated as this like mass flagging campaign organizer, which isn't at all what happened. But like whatever. And but then Max ended up turning out to be 100 times worse than anything I did toward Max. Max has been attempting to do toward Steve in a way, in his way of seeing it. Maybe he might be able to say it
I think
that
that he
way.
thinks that Steven should be deplatformed.
You think that he thinks that?
No, I don't think that he wants Steven deplatformed at all.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, deplatformed is such a funny word, but yeah, I'm not saying that he should want that. What I'm saying is any animosity he has toward me would actually be like vicarious through what I was perceived to have done to Max. Like I haven't actually done anything to Destiny, so for him to have beef with me is kind of funny. Um,
Sure.
but
Do you think what Max is doing is bad?
uh, well, I love it. It's hilarious to me. That the funny part, but as far as like whether or not it's bad, actually, good question. I mean, assuming you just like want my general take on the situation, I'll answer it that way. But
Yeah.
I think that, well, here's the deal. The way he's doing it is odd. Um,
He's an entertainer.
yeah,
You
and
can
the
imagine
entertainment
he's not going to
aspect
do
is
it
fine.
as super graceful.
The angle, the framing that he's using is all centered around abuse, and there's a bigger conversation to be had on the meaning of abuse and the significance of abuse and what abuse actually even means. and really in my frame of understanding or looking at the situation, the concept of abuse itself is a very victim-oriented female mindset, or another fuller way of saying it, it's a power strategy used by the underdog to gain power over the powerful. And
Okay.
in fact, the use of the word abuse is often done abusively. In fact, so really, like, the paradox here is that I would say, and not that I want to encourage him to stop or that I have a big problem or something, but looking from the outside, I'm witnessing it going, Max is being abusive. He's abusing the word abuse. Like, he's being abusive in his use of the word, meaning that he's using it in an over and beyond the intended purpose. He's taking liberties with it. He's in the way that people can abuse their privileges or abuse their power. He's abusing the language, and in fact, he's abusing. He's
I think you're
taking
using the word. I
advantage.
think you're abusing the word abuse now.
Maybe so, but hear me out though.
It's
It's
okay
a
when you
it's
do
a
it.
well, I'm not in using it. See, here's the thing: is that the effect that he's getting from it versus I'm uh, pondering on it, considering it, contemplating it out loud with you. But he's launching an inquisition and an accusation, and essentially like an attempt at character assassination on somebody through the use of the word abuse.
Why do you think he's doing it?
Um, um, Sort of a separate question. I'll be happy to answer it, but it's sort of like the why behind what, like, why is he doing this thing that might be just dishonest? Is a different question of whether or not it's dishonest. And I don't know if dishonesty is the right
I think we've
thing.
talked about this thing before, and I think that you struggle with double empathy. Which is like I think that you really want people to see the like your way of life, and you want them to just get it. And I think that that's sort of the what you fail to do in general, but I think that you're failing to do with Max right now, in which you're uh like you don't care why he's doing it, you just
Mm,
care about what he's doing. And I think that that's why a lot of people have trouble with the white nationalist movement, is
mm,
because they're not thinking like why you want these things, they're thinking about what you're doing and that it could be potentially harmful. They're not thinking about like that you care about family, or that you care about all these things, or that you really strongly hold these beliefs. Like Max
mm,
really strongly thinks that Steven is abusing his power and abusing women. Like he really believes that. So he thinks that it's his duty to put that forward and to hold Steven accountable for being a predator, I think. And he really believes in that. So I think that to say that he's to imply intent saying that he's doing this as like a character assassination, I think he's doing something that he believes in the same way we all do.
well,
And
I
I
might
don't
come
think he's
up with
doing it for
valid reasons that to me are very like deeply felt. So you might ask me to I might ask you to empathize with my reasons, right? And then I would
sure.
tell you that why I deeply feel this. But do the feelings that I have justify my actions? Those are two separate issues. So I'm not saying that I
Sure.
refuse or am unable to empathize with what he wants and what he deeply feels or believes, but that doesn't necessarily justify certain tactics. And it also just doesn't absolve you from using tactics that are what they are. So if I say that you're doing a character assassination on somebody and your immediate response is, but do you know why he's doing it? It's like, well, that's a different question than whether or not he's doing it. It's like, well, if we swapped character assassination with actual assassination, I'm like, he's trying to assassinate this person. And you're
Well,
like, but do you know
what if
why he's
Steven
trying
had
to
actually
assassinate?
raped someone? Like, what if
Uh
Steven
huh.
had actually raped someone? Like, what do you
Mm
think then? Do you think it's justified in whether or not Max should do this, or anyone should do this?
hmm. A character assassination?
I don't think he's necessarily doing a character assassination. I think that actually Steven's done that more to Max than Max has done that to Steven. I think that
I think you may be
uh,
right. Yeah. So that's
I think that
that's
Steven has repeatedly called him like a rapist and like all these things, whereas like Max is like, I think he's a good person. I think he needs help, and I want to talk
hmm.
about why. So I think that that's sort of an interesting thing. But yeah, I don't know. if listen, I actually know nothing. Me and Max are obviously he's my dad, but we don't.
Mm-hmm.
There's no he doesn't like talk to me about like this stuff because we don't. He doesn't. We both don't want like a double relationship in which he's like a journalist and also like my friend basically. So we don't talk about it. Just so we don't like brainwash each other into thinking that it's crazier than it is. But I think when he comes out with the article, maybe it'll make sense. Like he's talked to so many people that it seems like he's got something. Like I don't think he's psychotic. I think that even with my own personal relationship with Steven, I think he did a lot of things that were like pretty gross. And I think that people
Lev, is
should know
there?
about
I hate to interrupt. I should have waited 3 more seconds, but I interrupted you right before the
You're good.
end.
You're
My
good.
bad. My bad. You were almost done. But is there a baby in the other room that's crying
Oh
or
no,
like?
I'm God. My my fiance like left, and our dogs are like really upset about it. Hold on.
Oh yeah, okay.
Cool it.
Cool
I
it,
might just
dog.
have to yell at them. I might just have to yell at them periodically throughout
That's fine.
this.
I yell at my cat all the time, so we'll be in the same.
Okay.
He's gonna jump up here in a minute. I'm gonna go, Steve. Right, not right now. Um.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. But yeah, it was just kind of like it was coming through.
Sorry. Nope. It's
So
gonna be
your dog's
bad
just
for a
sitting at the
second.
door going like, oh,
Dude,
is that
looking
what it
out the
is?
window. Yes.
Oh, where is he?
Yes.
Daddy.
So
Yeah, yeah.
annoying. So
All
annoying.
right. Okay, so maybe I should take a shot at it and then ask you to tell me how I could get it better. Because it is interesting. Like, so why is Max doing it? Um, I would differentiate myself from other people who might say he's doing it because he's bitter or something like that. I wouldn't impugn his motive like that and say he's bitter because of the chicken and waffles, or he's bitter because of the subreddit, which unfairness. People might make the case that there was a petty grievance that was personal, lingering, and then he found an avenue to get like revenge through bringing up some problem with, and he's sort of like doing he's attacking. He's actually able to present himself as a hero to somebody, and just he's only being a protector of these victims of Stephen. He's not attacking Stephen. He's just trying to protect these people, which is a noble pursuit. It's not a petty attack on Stephen. It's just a noble pursuit to protect these vulnerable girls. I've heard people say things like that. But if I were to put all of that type of thing aside myself, because that would really kind of be some like mind reading on my part to be able to put myself in his mind and suss out some covert motive. If I just take it at face value and go, okay, so what he's presenting that he cares about yourself and about Anna and these other characters. And he cares in general about the power that Destiny has, that Stephen has in his position as the ringleader. He's the king of the castle over there. And he holds court with all of these characters, these orbiters. And they're all invited to his table. And he's got all the clout. He's got all the followers. And clout is currency online. So he's just like throwing out clout coins to all of his orbiters who sit around the table with him, and they banter and they have fun, and he acts friendly, but it's also understood that there's going to be some sparring that takes place, but it's all in good fun, it's all in good faith, and it's all in good charity and everything. And but Max has come to know in his time there that there's actually an insidious undertone of deception going on, where the king is getting away with murder here and there, or he's getting away with essentially, or he's getting away with abuse.
I don't know or think he's raped anyone. Just to be clear.
Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm sure
Okay.
I'm being
I don't want to.
figurative
I don't want that to come
right.
out. So.
But we're talking about a crime of crime, but we're talking about a sin or a
An
malicious
unethical
or an unethical.
behavior.
We call it unethical. Yeah, an unethical behavior that has to do with deceitful manipulation, maybe like seduction, baiting into hazard of his friends, where he brings
Abuse
them
of his
in.
power. Yeah.
Yeah, with the promise of increased clout, or increased access to fans and fame and attention and money and all the things that come along with associating with him and orbiting his sphere. See, so they're welcome into the inner circle, but there's a price that's unacknowledged that's going on, and part of the price to admission turns out to, like, the Faustian bargain is that once you come in, especially if you're female, even if you're a male, in Max is making his case that it happened to him too. Destiny is going to use his power as a unfair leverage in relationship to get more of what he wants from the other than what they want from him, especially when it comes to just kind of like respect and regard for how the others are feeling. And so he comes up lacking with understanding and empathizing with, or being compassionate toward the others and how his actions affect them. And it's sort of like, you're welcome into the conversation, into the circle. I'm showering clout coins on you. You're eating from my table. We're all feasting together. But sometimes it's going to really suck for you because I'm going to do something here and there. And when you tell me that it really sucked for you, tough titties. You just got to deal with it. You're just going to have to eat some shit once in a while you're here.
Yeah, essentially that's what he told me. And I think that could be fine. Especially when it's like when your relationship is like only on stream, right? But the problem is that the relationship is on stream, and then there's another relationship, there's a double relationship happening in which like he's having sex with these women, or he's like using like Max as his therapist, his like relationship therapist. Like there's some like there's this buy that you're closer than you really are. And I think that Steven might use it to I don't even know if he's doing it on purpose. I think that he really does desire closeness. I think that he struggles interpersonally. Like I think that he does desire closeness, but I don't think that he knows how to have. He's been streaming for so long also. I mean, you see his relationship with his wife. It's nonsensical to me. I could never have a relationship like that. So it's just I don't think even necessarily it's like malicious, or that he's doing these things maliciously. I just think that it is wrong, and we should probably talk about it, because we just should. I don't know, like, especially with I don't know if you saw like most of the dog pile that happened on me, but it got pretty gnarly for a second. Or like doxing me and my partner, and that was pretty gnarly. Over something that was like so seemingly silly. And part of that is made more insidious because, as soon as as long as I was sending like Steven pictures of my feet and letting him like touch me, I was treated really well. And then I stopped doing that and I was treated really poorly. Which it feels sort of like that feels wrong. And if I think the mind frame
I want to ask you there. I want to wrap you. I want to know, why is it wrong in your perspective?
I guess
In your judgment.
because I guess in my worldview, you should treat people with respect, and that doesn't feel very respectful to me. That doesn't feel very human to me. That doesn't feel like he's honoring my soul's journey on this earth. And yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it. And then allowing a community to go after me, and making content off of like my basically mental breakdown is, I think, really bad for society. Like I just think that that's like a horrible thing to normalize, because I think that we should all be a little more human to each other. So I think that there's a lot
What do you
going
mean by
wrong.
be human? I've heard you say that a bit, and sometimes you say like, okay, now I'm no longer human, or my humanity is gone, or treats me like I'm inhuman, and he's being inhuman toward me. What do you mean by that?
I mean, you can think that this is cringe. We've talked about this before. I think empathy is really big for me. I think that I'm like a big I've been talking about Nietzsche so much today for some reason, but
Epic.
because I'm not like religious and I don't want to fall into nihilism. I don't know if you've read like a lot of Nietzsche, but he mostly talks about like personal power and how like you don't necessarily even have to like agree with people, but you have to like at least what I take from it is that I have to empathize with someone's journey. Like we don't agree on a lot of things, but I think that the world is a better place when we're not like yelling at each other and making each other like inhuman. Like we just want to coexist. We only have, at least in my view, in my secular view,
Wait,
it's
you did it
like
again. When we're making each other inhuman, and so inhuman means empathy.
yeah,
So it
empathy
means caring
and
about
treating
how
each
each
other
other
with
feels.
respect. Yeah, how each other feels, but also like making the world like a livable
Renry sent
place.
$5. The saddest part of all of this is that men are desperate enough to have sex with this ugly freak whose face scares little children.
Damn. Oh yeah. If you want to send in like really mean super chats to Lav, it's powerchat.live/BigTech. I set a goal at $200. If we hit 200, we're gonna make Lav sing us a song. So hit that goal, everybody. Let's get going. $200. If we get going now, if everybody starts contributing right up front, send in something really mean, hurt Lav's feelings. She told me she doesn't mind coming here and we could throw rotten tomatoes at her, boo, and say mean stuff to her, and she'll stay. She won't leave. So fire away. Powerchat.live/BigTech. Thanks for being such a sport, by the way, Lav. That was really nice of you to agree to that. Very cool. Brave.
I'm watching your screen right now, and your lighting is doing me no favors. Like the
What do you mean,
lighting
like in
that
the
you
way
have.
you look?
Yes, like I don't know if it's like the exposure or whatever, but it makes me look like Woody Allen, which I think is anti-Semitic. And this is actually a hate crime. You're actually hate criming me right now.
I didn't do that on purpose or anything.
I feel like I don't look as bad in my personal camera that I do like on your stream camera, but
what can I do
I'm
here?
trying to
I got
let
a
it
couple
go. I'm
filters
trying to
I
let
can
go
mess
of
with.
my appearance and my ego and just be a spiritual being on this earth.
There we go.
So.
Epic. Yeah, that's good. Good. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. I actually might have some filters on that were helping me be able to see some text earlier that I was showing. What if I do? Oh, that's truer to form. There we go. It was darkened up. What do you think now? It's a little better.
Still Jewish, still Woody Allen, but if this is as good as it's gonna get.
Oh, now I look the same, just brighter. I mean, I just took the filters off that I have.
Yeah. Let's see if I can make myself look better. It's not going to happen. But what were we talking about?
I'm pretty sure the Groypers know what you look like at this point, especially the curious ones.
Yeah, probably.
But where were we? Oh yeah, so empathy is such an interesting thing. Now it's kind of I've noticed it's transforming into humanity because it's getting overused, but it's like we have to treat each other as human. We have to humanize. We can't dehumanize. And when I ask, well, what is that? And we say, okay, well, you need to empathize and have respect for. And then it's kind of like, well, what is that? And I know what it means, but it's sort of like
I can tell you why it's important.
It's sort of like the linchpin of the left in my perspective, or in that sphere, but really is the left, or especially like the omni left. I don't know what that is over there.